Sorry, Ellen, can I just confirm which organizations are their award recipients?
I'm just sending you an email, Counselor.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
To the chair, you can begin any time now.
All right, I will wait 10 seconds and then I will call the meeting to order. Thank you, Ellen. Good morning, everyone. My name is Councillor Paul Ainsley. I am the chair of the Scarborough Community Council. The clerk has confirmed that we have quorum this morning, so I would like to call meeting number 4 to order. Welcome to everybody. Today's meeting is being held with members of council and city staff participating by both video conference and in person at the Scarborough Civic Center in the council chamber. The Scarborough Civic Center is open to the public, and anyone is welcome to attend the meeting in the council chamber today. The public may continue to participate electronically by video conference. This meeting is also being live streamed online at youtube.com/Toronto City Council Live. The City Clerk staff have connected remote public speakers to the meeting by video conference, and there are public speakers in the room with us today. The list of speakers can be viewed online by visiting the Scarborough Community Council page at toronto.ca/council and clicking the Speakers tab for today's meeting. I ask everyone for their patience with any delays and technical issues. To members, the City Clerk has provided all agenda materials on toronto.ca/council and on the Clerk's meeting portal. Clerk's IT staff will be available for members in the chamber and remotely if you need any help with your devices. As part of each agenda item, I will ask members to raise their hand or unmute their microphone if they wish to question staff or to speak. I will then create a speakers list and will call on members when it is their turn to speak. When voting on an item or a motion, I ask members to ensure they turn on their video and raise their hand to indicate their vote. As a reminder, members, this is a paperless meeting and you still must submit and approve your motions by email. Staff are available at scc@toronto.ca to help with any motions that we're moving. For the land acknowledgement, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Scarborough Community Council that the land we are standing on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. I also acknowledge Toronto is covered by Treaty Number 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaties, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. At this point, I'm going to ask if there's any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Seeing none, can I have a motion to confirm the minutes from our last meeting of February 24th, 2023? Moved by Councillor Myers. All in favor? Carried. Members, before going through the agenda, I would like to take a short time for a video presentation on the Toronto Community Champion Award. Recently, on March 20th, 2023, a ceremony was hosted for the 25 recipients of the Toronto Community Champion Award. Proudly, 4 of them are from Scarborough. The Toronto Community Champion Award is part of the Stronger Together, TO Together program, and was developed as an opportunity for residents to nominate and shine a spotlight on not-for-profit organizations across the city that made a positive and lasting impact on individuals and communities during the pandemic, particularly those in disproportionately affected communities. These groups have been the unsung heroes of the pandemic, pivoting and changing their approaches in order to meet the needs of our communities at the grassroots. At the March 20th ceremony, the award for organizations in Scarborough was presented by Deputy Mayor Jennifer McKelvey. At this point, staff are going to show a video presentation that highlights the wonderful work of the not-for-profit organizations, including the recipients in Scarborough throughout the pandemic. I'll hand it over to our wonderful IT department.
When I think about the pandemic and all that it meant to the residents of Toronto, I think some of the most significant things were the pace at which the situation with COVID-19 was evolving. Certainly in the early days, the situation would evolve even faster than day by day. We were seeing changes hour to hour, and I think the biggest challenge for our residents was having to keep pace with all of the changes, be it closures or new restrictions or new provisions and new instructions from the province, from the federal government, and from the city. And our residents did a magnificent job of keeping up with all of that under the most extraordinary circumstances.
There was a lot of uncertainty at the outset of the pandemic. We were dealing with a brand new virus that we really didn't know very much about. We were trying to understand how it spread and who it was affecting. And on top of that, we had the pre-existing challenges of housing insecurity or overcrowding, access to food, access to appropriate levels of income. And these are the communities and the people that many of our not-for-profit organizations in Toronto are serving. I think what was most notable for the residents of Toronto is that there have always been inequities and challenges in the city around differential levels of access to income and access to the social determinants of health. But these were magnified and certainly worsened over the course of COVID-19.
Well, this pandemic touched everybody in very different ways. For some, it meant a loss of a job. For others, it meant that they were very concerned about their own personal health. For others, it meant caring for loved ones. But you know, sometimes in a crisis, you really find out what you have in a community. We've always known our not-for-profit community is a really strong part of the fabric of what makes Toronto a world-class city and a great place to live, work, play, and learn. But in the pandemic, we found that they're even more important than maybe we even knew.
And we also saw that there was a rise, a dramatic rise actually, in resident grassroots organizing outside of traditional agencies as people kept trying to figure out, how can I help?
I'll never forget watching this amazing, dedicated, selfless group of people come together to literally to save lives and to make a difference in the lives of people they may have never met and they may never meet again. And to me, it represented everything that Toronto is.
Our not-for-profit organizations were there helping the helpers. They were the front line for the front line. They made sure that the most vulnerable members of our communities were fed, that they had access to medicine and vaccines when vaccines became available, and that they had access to safe spaces, places to shelter, and people to talk to. So to my mind, what not-for-profit organizations did in the pandemic response was answer the call, the highest call to citizenship, and to serve their community.
I will never stop being appreciative of the not-for-profits and the community organizations throughout the COVID pandemic. And I think the biggest challenges that they faced was dealing with all of this changing environment and having to immediately pivot and transform their service delivery models against this myriad of challenges and changes. And that was everything from physical restrictions, many of them having to move from business models that were designed to have people come to them and have to reverse that, where they were having to go to people. Just things like the lack of PPE availability and being able to source that, and changing income streams, and just so much. And I watched this collection of amazing organizations change and pivot and evolve and keep pace with a pandemic that none of us had ever imagined or seen before.
The Toronto Community Champion Award properly acknowledges and recognizes and celebrates these heroes in our midst. Heroes who are our not-for-profit organizations throughout the city of Toronto. They stepped up in a remarkable way over the course of the pandemic. They demonstrated the ultimate in selflessness and the ultimate, in my mind, in citizenship. And I think that this is something that is truly worthy of celebration.
How to kill all mosquitoes in the area in 90 seconds. This simple but brilliant trick you can do tonight to eliminate all mosquitoes around you is taking Canada by storm.
All right, thank you to the IT department. That was an amazing video. I would like to acknowledge that we have some of the award recipients from Scarborough with us today.
Oh, I'm so sorry
And they
to the chair, but there's one more short video with respect to Scarborough
Oh, okay. My
recipients.
apologies, Ellen.
No problem.
That was when
community
Oscar
service across
decided
the
to take
city.
matters into his own hands. Blessed with a gift
Organizations
for
in Scarborough
engineering
have
and a
a deep
desire to live
relationship
without
with
the
their
constant
Organizations in Scarborough have a deep relationship with their communities as the community service across the city.
In Scarborough, a lot of new initiatives were formed during the pandemic, particularly to respond to food insecurity needs. And some of the award recipients exemplify that, where they realized that there was a gap in the needs of the community and they wanted to forge something new.
Culturally specific food baskets were a new way of providing services to residents in Scarborough. You saw organizations using technology more as a way to access their clientele and found ways to connect virtually with residents in Scarborough to address increasing mental health needs.
They were able to support that network of connectivity. And so access becomes easier when you know someone that knows someone that knows someone. And I think whether it's South Scarborough or North Scarborough, across Scarborough, the mobilization was excellent.
Thank you very much to the IT staff for those great videos. We did have, as I mentioned earlier, 4 award recipients were from Scarborough. They include the Afghan Network for Social Services. They provided support and assistance during the pandemic by connecting Afghan newcomers to essential services such as healthcare, government assistance program, food support programs, distributing clothes and hygiene products, and providing housing support. There was also Feed Scarborough that ran the Scarborough Security Food Initiative. They were awarded for empowering the community and addressing the needs of Scarborough during the pandemic through food support to impacted residents and advocating for food as a human right. Another recipient was the Organization of Canadian Tamils with Disabilities. They were recognized for providing a unified voice during the pandemic for those in the Tamil community with disabilities by providing outreach and support to children, youth, and seniors, distributing PPE masks, and offering virtual programming and mental health support. We also recognize the Settlement and Assistance and Family Support Services for serving newcomers, refugees, and victims of violence during the pandemic through the distribution of PPE, providing access to vaccines and food, and offering technology to support our seniors. There's representatives with all of these organizations are with us here this morning. And if I could ask them to please be recognized for their hard work, dedication, and commitment to serving our communities here in Scarborough throughout the pandemic. And on behalf of my colleagues here at Scarborough Community Council, we can't thank everybody enough for all of their hard work and dedication helping our residents get through COVID. Thank you so much. Members, we will now, sorry, does somebody wish to speak?
Mr. Chair, we're just going to recognize the recipients with a photo op, if that's okay with you. I think it'd be appropriate.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
All right, thank you everybody for that once again, and congratulations again to all of the award recipients, award recipients, and to Deputy Mayor McKelvey for representing the City of Toronto and all of us in the presentation. I will now go through our agenda. There is a speakers list. There are speakers registered for item number 1, as well as item number 9, so we will hold those down. SC 4.1 is 2993 to 30011 Sheppard Avenue East and 1800 to 1814 Pharmacy Avenue. Official plan amendment and zoning amendment final report. So there's one registered speaker for that, so we will hold that down. Item number 2 is 4630 Kingston Road. It's a zoning amendment application. This is an appeal report in Ward 25. Councillor Deputy Mayor McKelvey.
I'll move staff recommendations.
Deputy Mayor McKelvey is moving staff recommendations on number 2. All in favor? That carries. Item number 3 is deferred from our February meeting. It is 5 Waltonice Road, an application for fence exemption in Ward 20. Councillor Crawford.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move item or recommendation 2 to grant the application for the exemption permit.
All right, thank you, Councillor Crawford. Is moving recommendation number 2. Are there any questions of the mover? Seeing none, all in favor? That carries. Item is amended. All in favor? That carries. Item number SC 4.4 is 2 Flintridge Road, an application for a fence exemption in Ward 21. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning. I'd like to move recommendation number 2, which is to grant the application for an exemption permit.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Moving recommendation number 2. Any questions of the mover? Seeing none, all in favor of recommendation number 2? Seeing none opposed, that carries. Item is amended. All in favor? That carries. SC 4.5, 100 and 110 Silver Star Boulevard, designation of fire routes and amendment to Chapter 880 fire routes in Ward 22. Councillor Mantis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move staff recommendations.
Thank you, Councillor Mantis. Councillor Mantis is moving staff recommendations on this item. All in favor? That item carries. SC 4.6 is 1028, 1032, 1036, 1038 McNicoll Avenue, designation of fire routes and amendment of Chapter 880 for fire routes. Ward 22, Councillor Mantis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move staff recommendations.
Councillor Mantis is moving staff recommendations. All in favor? That carries. Item number 7, SC 4.7, traffic amendments at Farmcrest Drive and Meadowacres Drive in Ward 22. Councillor Mantis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move staff recommendations.
Councillor Mantis is moving staff recommendations on item number 7. All in favor? That carries. Item number 8, SC 4.8, pedestrian crossing protection mid-block at Beachell Street in Ward 24. I do have a motion that I would like to move as an amendment as a quick item of business. If I could have the motion on the screen. I'm deleting recommendation number 1, not authorizing it, and replacing it with a new recommendation. Scarborough Community Council authorize the installation of a pedestrian crossover mid-block at Beachell Street, approximately 100 meters north of Eglinton Avenue East. This is fully supported by my community, including a local school with many residents that are going to make excellent use of this pedestrian crossover, and ask for everybody's support. Any questions of me? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment? That carries. Item is amended. All in favor? That carries. SC 4.9 pedestrian crossing protection, Orton Park Road and Botany Hill Road at Slan Avenue. This is in Ward 24. We have a deputant for that. So I will hold that in my name. Okay, and then I understand there's a number of new business items that need to be added to the agenda. Councillor Crawford, I have you first on the list. If you could please introduce your items, and I will ask the clerk to display the item on the screen so the members can review it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. SC 4.10, always stop control at Denton and Robinson. We've been working with city staff on this, and we just didn't get it in time for the agenda, so it's a new item I'd like to add.
Okay, all of those in favor of adding this item to the agenda, if you could please raise your hand. All in favor? Not seeing any opposed, the motion carries. Deputy Mayor McKelvey, I understand you have an item you would like to add to the agenda? If
Yes.
the clerk will display it on the screen.
It's posted as SC 4.12, Port Union Road and Rozell Road signalized intersection. And it's for installation of traffic control signals at Port Union, Rozell. And the timing is because we're about to rip up that road for reconstruction.
All right. All those in favor of adding this item to the agenda, if you please raise your hands. That carries. None opposed. I believe, Madam Speaker, those are...
Mr. Chair, sorry, I had another new item I'd have to add. It's Councillor Crawford.
Oh, sir. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Crawford.
SC 4.11, parking amendments on Adanac Drive. Again, worked with city staff to make sure that these sight lines were dealt with, and this is the motion that came from it.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Crawford. All in favor of adding this item to the agenda? Seeing none opposed, that carries. That explains why I skipped number 11 and Deputy Mayor McKelvey had a number 12. I believe, Madam Clerk, those are all of the new items of agenda business?
That's right.
Okay. So our first item of business, we are going back to item number 1. We have one registered speaker. David Hunt from Bosfield Incorporated. We're on item SC 4.1, 2993 to 3011 Sheppard Avenue East, 1800 to 1814 Pharmacy Avenue, official plan amendment and zoning amendment. This is a final report in Ward 22. Mr. Hunt, you have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Good morning to the chair and members of Scarborough Community Council, city staff, and other participants in attendance today. My name is David Hunt. I am a planner and partner at Bellsfields Inc., and we are the planning consultants acting on behalf of the owners and applicant with respect to the redevelopment of the subject site at the southwest corner of Sheppard Avenue East and Pharmacy Avenue. I'm here this morning to provide Community Council an update following the deferral of this item from the last meeting, to provide another opportunity for the owners to meet with the adjacent homeowner to provide further clarification regarding concerns he had raised. As background, over the past few years, the owners, as part of the application process, have had several correspondences with the adjacent owner. And prior to the Community Council meeting on February 24th, as recently as November 29th of last year. Also, through community planning, we also provided responses and materials in response to his letter. But following Community Council on February 24th, at the request of Council, the owners reached out to the homeowner to meet with him. But following a meeting between Councillor Mantis and the homeowner, the councillor was able to facilitate a meeting earlier this week between the owners and the homeowner. At the meeting, we discussed the homeowner's concerns and reiterated to him that we are respectful of his property rights and are fully aware that any impact or encroachment onto his property would require his permission and agreement between the two owners. We also advised him that his concerns will be worked out through the city's site plan approval application process. So it's on behalf of the owners, we feel that we have satisfied Community Council's request to meet with the adjacent homeowner to discuss his concerns, and would also like to reiterate that going forward, the owners will continue to make themselves available to the homeowner if further questions or comments come up through the site plan process. As a result, we are supportive of staff's recommendation to approve the application, and I thank you for your time and happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Hunt. Any questions of the deputant? Seeing no questions of the deputant, thank you very much for your time this morning. Questions of staff on this item?
Mr. Chair,
No
it's
questions of
Councilor
staff?
Mantas.
Councilor Mantas, questions of staff?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Ventresca or Ms. Knowles. I have a letter with one of the questions from Mr. Richards that was sent to us yesterday afternoon. So I'm just going to read the paragraph of the letter, which you would be able to then, I guess, answer the question for the elevations. My previous presentation had contended such a plane should originate from existing grade at the property line. I have since been given to understand that the city regards established grade as the plane origin level, which is 0.85 meters lower than the first floor elevation, along the rear lot line stated in SSP 1. I note that earlier architectural drawings did show the plane from established grade, and even if I am to accept this, there is still, in my opinion, an unacceptable exceedance of the building structure beyond the plane line, whether deemed minor or not. Also, the initial setback measure was determined from a plane at established grade and could only be maintained if the plane origin goes up along with a raise in the first floor level. This would seem to present an endless set of possibilities to raise floor levels to whatever it deemed appropriate without consequence.
Through the chair, I'll pass that question to Ms. Knowles for an answer. Thanks.
Good morning. Yes, through the chair, staff carefully considered Mr. Richards' concerns in the context of the intent and purpose of angular planes in the official plan and urban design guidelines, which is to provide transition in scale and intensity from taller buildings to lower scale neighborhoods, with the goal of limiting shadow and overlook on neighboring properties. So this is outlined in the density, height, and massing discussion on page 15, and the sun and shadow discussion on page 16 of the staff report before you. So as part of the evaluation of the application, staff also tested the angular plane from the lowest point on the neighboring property line, which Mr. Richards had outlined, and concluded that even when taken from this lowest point, the angular plane projections would still be minor, and the impacts of this incremental difference on privacy, shadowing, and sky view are very minimal and acceptable for the site and its surrounding context. With respect to the point you raised about level 1, or concern about level 1 elevation and the height not being controlled, the zoning bylaw does set out elevation of, I think it's 179.35, from which the height is measured. So that cannot be varied further. So in summary, angular planes were used to help inform the built form and to evaluate this proposal, but the application of angular planes was instructive and not determinative.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mantas. Other questions of staff on this item? Seeing none, speakers on this item? Councillor Mantas, this is in your ward. Did you want to speak first?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to thank the residents. Mr. Richards has come out today to express the concerns. I'd like to thank the builder for everything that he has done for his application and to showcase the building and the project. And I'd like to thank Sophie, Christian, and everyone that has worked on this project. I would be moving staff recommendations, Mr. Chair, for this project.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Mantas. Are there other other speakers on this item? Seeing none, Councillor Mantas is moving the recommendations on this item. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, that item carries. Our next item is SC 4.9, pedestrian crossing protection at Orton Park Road and Botany Hill Road. At Botany Hill and Slan Avenue. We have one registered speaker. Mr. Matthew Allman. Is Mr. Allman present either physically or online?
To the chair, we doesn't seem to be present or online.
Okay. Mr. Sorry, not present?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Maybe with the committee's indulgence, we will move to the next three items and then we can go back to number 9 and see if Mr. Allman arrives at that point. So I will hold this item down. Our next item is so we have 3 new items of business. Our first one is SC 4.10, always stop control at Denton Avenue and Robinson Avenue in Ward 20. Councillor Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move staff, or it's not just the recommendations.
All right. Councillor Crawford is moving the recommendations. Any questions of the mover on this item? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? Seeing none opposed, that item carries. Our next item is SC 4.11, parking amendments on Adanac Drive in Ward 20. Councillor Crawford.
Thank you. I will move the recommendations.
All right, thank you, Councillor Crawford. Councillor Crawford is moving the recommendations on SC 4.11, parking amendments on Adanac Drive. All in favor of the motion? That carries unanimously. Our next item is SC 4.12, Port Union Road and Rozell Road signalized intersection. This is in Ward 25. Deputy Mayor McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the recommendation.
Councillor McKelvey, sorry, Deputy Mayor McKelvey, my apologies, is moving the recommendations on 4.12. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Thank you very much. We are going back to number 9. Madam Clerk, any sign of the deputant?
No, there isn't.
Okay, all right. I am, after a lot of consultation with my community, especially last fall as I was door knocking, I am going to be moving the recommendations, thanking staff for their work on this. I know children and parents going to Heather Heights Public School on Slan will feel much safer using this crosswalk. And I ask for the support of all of my colleagues. I'll be moving the recommendation. Any questions of me? Seeing none, all in favor of the recommendation? And that carries. And then I'm back to, I believe we're done, Madam Speaker. Madam Clerk.
The bills motion now, we'll put it up, okay?
Okay. Could I have somebody move the bills motion? Deputy Mayor McKelvey.
Thank you. That bill's 298 to 309, prepared for the April 5th, 2023 meeting for Scarborough Community Council, be declared bylaws and passed subject to Section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act.
All in favor? And that carries unanimously. Madam Clerk, I believe we're good.
The confirmation bill.
Right. And if I could have somebody move the confirmatory bill. Councillor Myers.
The confirmatory bills to confirm the legislative proceedings of the Scarborough Community Council acting under delegated authority at meeting 4 on April 5th, 2023 be declared as bylaws and passed subject to Section 226.9 of the City of Toronto Act 2006.
All in favor of the confirmatory bill? Seeing none opposed, that carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Councillor Myers. And motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thompson, all in favor? That carries. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you to the clerk staff and the IT staff. We will see everybody next month. Thank you very much.